Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Akita Prefecture in the north of Japan, and we're going to do my first visit to Tazawako Beer, and we're having a taste of their dark lager, which is a 5% Schwarzbier, and it should be quite interesting. Compared to the other German style beers that you find in Japan, this one is actually quite highly rated. On Rate Beer it came in at 75 overall and 88 within the style, so it should be pretty good in comparison to some of the other ones I've tried before. But this was very kindly given to me by Eric Jelife from Sotogami Akita Beer, so a big thank you to Eric for giving me this beer. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I'm sure Casey will also enjoy it as well. So thanks guys, and make sure you guys check them out as well. Sotogami Akita Beer, a really nice little beer channel that does Japanese beers and some other things, run by two American guys in Tokyo. You'll find the link in the description below. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that I'll do from Tazawako Beer. Very first time I'm trying one of their things, of course. There's all the usual social media. Make sure you check that out. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. And if you're particularly interested in Japanese beers, go to the channel homepage and simply search Japan. Or of course you can check out Casey and Eric's channel, like I said previously. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Tazawako Beer. So Tazawako Beer was founded in 1997 in Semboku in Akita Prefecture in northern Japan. The brewery's parent company is Warabiza Company Limited, and the beers of course are sold as Tazawako Beer. That's usually quite common in Japan. The parent company name is different from the actual beers that are sold. That's not so common outside of Japan, as you may know. So the brewery was founded by Komatsu Katsuhisa, who actually used to work for a hotel, and apparently the customers in the hotel used to ask for beer, and he ordered samples from around the world, which really opened up his eyes to what beer could be. Back at this time in the early 90s, you know, it was really just Asahi and Sapporo and the big lagers really that were dominating the market in Japan. But he pitched the idea of a brewery to the hotel, and the bosses agreed. So in 1994 he used his own money and vacation time to go to Germany for a month and study brewing. But when he returned to the hotel, they'd actually changed their mind, and they said the risk of starting their own brewery was far too high. But luckily one of the chefs that he worked with in the hotel company shared his vision, and they went on to start a brewery and restaurant together. So Komatsu apprenticed at Ichigo Beer, the first brewery in Japan, of course the first microbrewery in Japan, for around 3 months, and then he started the brewery with his former colleague, the chef, in 1997. So the brewery source most of their ingredients locally, and they grow some of their own hops and wheat, and they also make some of their own base malt as well. And they do have their own restaurant, which from the pictures looks very, very nice. As I say, check out the brewery website in the description below, and this has their own beers on tap and a variety of European foods. They were doing schnitzels and pizzas and things like that, and they also had some curries and stuff too, some Japanese foods when I checked it out. But it looked a very nice restaurant. Hopefully I can go up to Semboku sometime and have a look at it. That northern part of Japan, Akita, is supposed to be very, very nice, and of course that's where those big massive dogs come from. So if you're a dog lover, I'm sure you'd have some fun up there. So yeah, that's enough about Tazawako Beer just now. Just to list the other beers you can get from these guys, there's the Alt Beer, the Kulsch, this one here, the Dark Lager, and also the Pilsner. Those are their regular beers, and they also have some special brews as well. There's the Chocolate Bock, the Rauch, the Akita Weizen Sakura Komachi, which is a special flower beer, but it's listed as a fruit beer on Rate Beer. And they also have the Buna no Mori, which is a sour beer, and if I'm not mistaken, that is the first sour beer I've actually heard of coming from Japan. So it might be one that you want to check out. The Beer Tengoku, which is one of the big beer blogging sites here in Japan, recommended the Sakura beer. So if it's in season when you head up there, make sure you give that a go, and hopefully I can try that sometime too. But yeah, that's enough about Tazawako Beer just now. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. The artwork on this one is actually slightly different from the others. The other ones have white labels with little scroll things over them, but there you can see at the top Tazawako Beer. And they can see this is one of the common bottle caps you'll find in Japan. You know, they say speciality malts and hops specially selected and all of this. But this one is, I think it says it's a 330 milliliter bottle. but it's 5% ABV, and like I said, it's a Schwarzbier. So let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Looking forward to this one. Thank you again to Eric for giving me this beer. So as you can see, nice smoky opening there as we get it out, and we'll get it into the glass. I think this one might be just a little bit more than 330 mils. We'll just try and get the last of it into the glass. And there you are, perfect pour once again. This little glass has been quite handy, the Japanese beer glass. So yeah, as you would expect from the Schwarzbier, it's poured a nice kind of dark ebony rosewood colour. There's a half finger of a frothy, kind of beigey tan head on this one actually. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there, but overall it looks like a very, very nice beer. So yeah, let's have a look at the aroma then and we'll see how we get on. You know, this one smells, it really leans towards the malty side of things, as you'd expect. You've got some of the roasted black malts that you'd expect from the Schwarzbier. A little bit of chocolate I'd say as well, but mainly a roasted black malt. You can pick up some of the sort of German rye bread underneath that as well. Definitely some earthy hops. Maybe, you know, maybe just a little bit of nuttiness, but I really think it's more of a kind of rye bread character that you're getting from this beer. Yeah, definitely more of a sort of rye bread thing that you're getting here. There's also a bit of earthy hop coming out of it as well. Maybe just a little bit of grassiness. And you can get just a little bit of the kind of candied red fruit ester as well. You know, you can get everything you expect, but really the main component of the aroma is that kind of black roasted malt base and the German rye bread. The earthy hops are in there too. Those are the three main components. The earthy rye, the sort of rye bread, the earthy hops, and a little bit of the kind of roasted black malts. Maybe a bit of chocolate too. But it smells quite nice, so let's have a look at this one and we'll get on with the tasting then. So this one is the dark lager from Tazawako Beer in Semboku, Akita, Japan. Kanpai, thank you once again to Eric for giving me this beer. Cheers. Now that is pretty nice. It's sweeter than I thought it was going to be. I was thinking this would be a big bitter, kind of a big sort of coffee-ish Schwarzbier, this one, but it's actually more chocolatey. So as you always should do with Schwarzbiers and dark style beers and things like that, sugar the beer around your palate and just let it settle a bit before you think too much about the flavour. Just let the whole palate adjust to this one. But yeah, this is a pretty good beer. You can tell that right away. There's many of these beers in Japan that are brewed in the German style. And you know, all the flavours are there, but they're just toned down a little bit. I talked about that in my collaboration reviews with Eric and Casey. There are a lot of these German style beers you get here. All the flavour components are there, but they're just not quite as kind of big and punchy. This one tastes like it could come from Germany. It really does. It's just got a bigger flavour to it, and that's what I like. You know, I used to live in Germany, and I'm used to the German style beers being big in their flavour, and this one hits that mark definitely. So yeah, the middle of your palate's kind of blanketed with a quite almost rye breadish flavour. On top of that, you're getting a bit of almost caramelly sweetness in there, but to me, right in the middle of the palate, you're getting a kind of milky chocolate sort of thing going on. There is a bit of the roasted character, the sort of roasted black malty character that comes out later in the aftertaste. As the flavour progresses, it starts to change, and you get these roasted kind of bitter malts coming out of it a little bit, but it's really nice and quite subtle. It mixes well with the sweet things. It's really not a big punchy bitterness that you're getting out of this beer. But this is a nice one, there's no doubt about that. At the back corners of the palate, you're getting a bit of earthy hop, and it's smooth as it comes forward. There's maybe a bit of grassiness around the front curve of the palate, but overall, I want to say the hops are mainly earthy in this one. And behind the front curve of the tongue, you pick up that little oily bubble, and it's a sort of red, kind of candied fruit ester that's coming out there. It always reminds me of these little Haribo heart-shaped sweets that you get in the Star Mix, or perhaps the red kind of gummy bears as well, Guldbeeren, as the Germans call them. And you get that little flavour behind the front curve of the tongue. That, to be honest, in the aftertaste, I'm actually getting a little bit of kind of citrusy or floral, sort of florally citrus character coming out on the front curve of the palate too. That seems to come out at the end, which is quite interesting. It's quite unusual actually. Yeah, I'm getting just that little strange kind of floral citrusy thing, which isn't so common with a Schwarzbier actually. Maybe it's something different about the local hops and malts that they've put into this one, and that is one of the novelties of this beer, is that a lot of the ingredients that are used in this are sourced locally. So you're getting a Schwarzbier, but you are getting something that is a little bit different too. In the middle of the palate too, you can get a little bit of nuttiness in this one, so that's quite interesting as well. But the flavours of this beer blend together very well, and like I say, the flavour is a bit stronger, so in comparison with some of the other German style beers, that you're going to find in Japan, this one is one of the better ones I've come across. So make sure you give this a go actually. I'd love to try their other ones that they produce and see what they're like as well. But no, this is a good beer. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. In terms of the mouthfeel, this one is actually quite light-bodied. The carbonation does have a bit of a prickle to it. If it's one thing I would say about this beer, maybe it could do with being just a little bit smoother. I'd like it just to have the carbonation on this one is quite crisp. Maybe it's to do with the heat that you get in Japan. It could be. Sometimes you get that with the beers here, but for me, I'd want it just to be a little bit smoother than it is. But that's a minor point. The flavours of the beer are all there. So like I was saying, the malty character in this one is actually quite smooth and quite sweet to start with, and then you start to get some of the bitterness that you expect of the Schwarzbier at the end of it. The hops have a little bit of dryness too, and you also get some of the fruity juiciness, and like I was saying, there's a kind of citrusy or floral character comes out in the very end of the aftertaste for this one, which is quite interesting. So you've got a bit of sweetness, you've got a bit of bitterness, dryness from the hops too, and you've got some interesting fruity characters. It's got everything you would kind of expect. The citrus though in this one is, for me, the thing that makes it a little bit unusual. But overall, it's a really good beer, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. I'd love to try it on tap and see if the carbonation is just a little bit lighter. For me, it's just a little bit, it has that bit of crispness to it, and the carbonation bubbles a little bit in the mouth. But apart from that, this is a very good beer. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again, and the carbonation isn't an issue. It's not a big enough issue to put you off this beer at all. It's just a very kind of minor thing from me, because I used to drink these beers actually in Germany. But this is a very solid beer. Like I said, in comparison to the other German style beers that you're going to find in Japan, this one is pretty damn good. So yeah, make sure you check out Tazawako Beer from Semboku in Akita in Japan. I really want to try some of their other beers now and see how I get on with those, but it's been really cool to review one. My first beer review from Akita actually, and hopefully there will be more to come in the future. But make sure you check out this one, or check out their other beers. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer and the brewery and restaurant in the comments section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do let me know some other beers from Japan that you'd like me to review. And those of you watching in Japan, please do get in touch. So thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. Make sure you check out all the usual social media. Go and check out Sotogami Akihabara, Casey and Eric's channel. Until the next time, it's Slangy just now, Kampai, and I will catch you soon with more Japanese beer reviews. Cheers.